Welcome to the Reschool'd podcast, the show that discusses all the things that schools may have missed, with your hosts AJ Kuti and Jason Gordon. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We are the Reschool'd podcast, the show that discusses the things that schools may not have prepared you for. As always, I'm AJ, sitting across me, Jason. Jason, how you doing today?
Doing great, AJ. Happy to be here.
Man, it is for at the time that we're recording this is the end of our semester, coming up on the end of our semester, and it is brutal.
Yep, professors actually have schoolwork to complete as well, and all our homework is due right there at the end.
Oh man, grading papers and granted, is your test typically more multiple choice?
More multiple choice than anything else, but I always have other projects.
Yeah.
You know, at some classes, there's no way to avoid it, like negotiations. There's just no way to avoid it. You've got to do write-ups on every assignment, and those classes take a lot of time.
Yeah, I see. In accounting, I mean, there's a lot of professors out there that give multiple choice. I'm just somebody that I feel like I can get more out of evaluating my students based on problems and how you do different methods and stuff rather than multiple choice. So mine are all problems. So that just really, I mean, it takes time, and time is of the essence right now. So it is rough. But
yeah, and you know, you're actually a student too, right?
So this coming weekend, I actually have to go and do 5 presentations in 2 days.
Wow.
So I am not looking forward to that.
Doing a full-time job and a doctoral program at the same time. That's ill-advised.
It is rough. But, you know, it's interesting. A lot of the stuff that we've talked about in past episodes, I've actually been utilizing.
Good.
Because it is, you know, I'm talking about, especially the one that's really got me was the note-taking one. The note-taking episode, because I've always said I was a really bad note-taker when I was in college and in high school. And now I'm trying to turn that and trying to actually do well. So I've really, all of my reading assignments I've done, I've taken notes on those before and after reading. It's been very, very helpful.
Can you feel yourself getting better at it though, too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it is. I will say one thing that I've noticed, and this is something that I wish I would have had it back when I was in high school and college, is the technology side of it. I'm very tech-based. I love my technology. And so being able to take my notes on an iPad and keep everything right there, and then, you know, the app that I use, if I take a note here, I can actually move that handwritten note somewhere else on the page, and I can make it look pretty and organize it a lot better. And so It really helps me, especially with ADD. I can write a simple note at the very bottom of the page so I don't forget it, and then come back and almost lasso it and move it to another part of the page. And so that's really helped me a lot.
Awesome. So there's the proof in the pudding, guys. AJ's, you know, using these methods. He's crushing it now, right?
Yeah,
Gonna be top of your class, right, AJ?
Right now. I'm actually have all A's right now. This is actually the first time in my life.
Good for you. See, this stuff works, right? This stuff really works. So with that being said, we got to change page for a second and get these guys into a career path.
Yeah.
Right. We got to help them find what they're going to do with their life, find a job, find an internship, find a long-term plan. So, but before we do, remind everybody, visit our website, reschool'd.com. Also, check us out on the social media handles, right? Reschool'd Pod is where you'll find us there. And then, of course, on your favorite podcast app. Once again, if you're going to listen to the episodes, please, please, please give us that review. If you like it, 5 stars. If not, well,
it's Jason's fault.
You know, it's my fault. You know, you cut me some slack there. Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, what we're going to talk about today is LinkedIn, right, AJ?
Yeah, so we're actually in the 5th chapter of our general careers kind of series, and we're in the part 1 of LinkedIn. And so this is something that's really, really big for Jason. Jason's a very big proponent of LinkedIn, which is, by the way, they're not a sponsor. This is just how big it is how important it is to us, or at least to him. I'm still learning it, and you're going to learn that here very, very soon. I'm very ignorant when it comes to LinkedIn because I don't use it as much as I should. Jason and I have talked about this before. And this is just one of those things that I need to make more of a priority to. And this is the best way for everyone to learn more about it because he understands it very well. So we're going to go into part 1. There's going to be other parts because it is that detailed. So let's get into the quick question first, and then we can get into the main subject, which is the LinkedIn and why it's important. Jason, quick question or quick statement, I guess, for this one is grade your own personal LinkedIn profile. Now I'm looking at yours right now and it's freaking phenomenal.
So I'm actually going to give myself a low A, like 90 out of 100
Of
maybe,
course you are.
because I would say there are things I could do better. And, when we go into the technical stuff of going through LinkedIn, we're going to make a series out of this. Then, yes, I'll get into how things like that could be made better. But I've spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. I've used it pretty well. So I'm going to give myself a low A. What about you?
I will follow your trend and give myself a low F. So that will be like a 5 out of 100.
Well, AJ, I'm gonna throw in with you there. I would have given you a mid-range F.
Oh, wow. Cool. I mean, is the fact that is it like the SAT where you write your name on it, you get so many points?
Exactly, and in this case, you did put down your name.
I have my name down, and exactly. So that's why I gave myself the 5 instead of zeros. I actually have a page. It's awful. I don't even have a profile picture. I don't use this. This is the first time I've gotten on LinkedIn for this episode since I couldn't tell you how long because I had to go remember what my password was.
Yeah,
So it took me some steps to get here. So
and
I'm very
your
interested.
contact information on there is sexybeard83. So, like,
Exactly,
I
and
don't.
I didn't even have a beard back then. I just knew it was coming. Um, no, I just I don't get on it very much, and so I know after we go through these episodes, it's going to be something that I want to work on. So I'm looking forward to this.
All right, well, let's jump in.
Yeah, let's do that. So the first question really I have for you, and this is again for both the listeners and myself, why is LinkedIn so important?
Well, so we're in the career development portion, right? So we're going to focus on that. So for career development stuff, one, it is an amazing source to find new jobs. You can actually use it now for applying for jobs through the system, but also it is an incredible networking tool. Okay, so finding people with whom you can network to get your foot in the door, that type of thing. So between the networking, meeting professionals aspect, and then the actual portion of finding a job, and when we get into this whole finding a job thing uh, throughout this episode right now, there's a couple of ways, right? You can be proactive and go out there and search yourself, or you can set yourself up to be found by recruiters, right? You're actually putting yourself in a position where people are going to reach out to you for things that you qualify for and things like that. There's no other social media profile, there's no other job search platform, there's nothing else that is anywhere close to the equivalent of what LinkedIn offers in this way. So if you are in the zone of, hey, I need to expand my network, hey, I need to start looking for job opportunities, or I need to open myself up for people who are looking for somebody to find me, even if I'm not actively looking or searching now, then LinkedIn, I'm going to go out on a limb and say LinkedIn really is the only acceptable game in town. It's that important.
So it is the professional social media.
Oh, above and beyond, right? I think there are other professional social medias. They're not well known,
Yeah.
okay, but they certainly exist. Especially when you start getting into uh, the where you're putting out public opinion stuff, right? You're answering questions and things like that. There are platforms where you can do that in a really professional manner. One of my favorites is Quora.
Heard.
Reddit can also be used professionally that way. But when it comes to just pure career development stuff, LinkedIn stands alone.
So, and
So,
you mentioned this a little bit in your answer to my first question, but how can LinkedIn help you professionally? Like specifically, what are the things that it can help you with?
okay. So to start with, networking is king, right? Who you know is everything. When it comes to, in other episodes, we've talked about the concept of opportunity, and I always break opportunity into generating an opportunity, recognizing an opportunity when it presents itself, and then exploiting an opportunity. We tell people, you work hard, you'll be successful in life, and all that kind of stuff. And to a certain extent, that's true, but not exactly, right? If you are presented with an opportunity and you work hard at it, most people will be successful in exploiting that opportunity. Where people fall down is they don't know what to do to create an opportunity, and oftentimes they don't recognize an opportunity when it's there. Okay. So, that being said, how do you go about generating an opportunity? Well, part of that is networking. People that you meet, your connections, they're the people who present you with potential scenarios that you could take advantage of. They're the people who make you aware of an opportunity that they find. Or sometimes, like I say, they just bring you into their fold, and that creates an opportunity for you. People who are born with heavy connections, your parents are well connected, you come from money, fame, something like that. Well, the reason they oftentimes make it in whatever field or area they're pursuing is, once again, the opportunity presents itself more readily to them. Then they have to go through the same process as everyone else of working to exploit it, but at least they have that opportunity created. Now, LinkedIn is one of those platforms where you can go out there and network and create an opportunity. You can set up your profile to be found by recruiters. Again, an opportunity. Or you can be proactive and find out about companies. Follow them so you get notifications when they post job opportunities. Being connected with people from companies or in industries where you want to work. And just by virtue of keeping up with them or reading their posts and things like that, you become aware of opportunities, right? So as much as anything, I would say the reason it can help you professionally is it can help you create career-related professional opportunities. Now, can it help you in recognizing an opportunity? Not as much, not unless you're going to use it as a research tool to see what other people did to get to where they are professionally, right? So, and you can mimic that in a way by saying, okay, sure, maybe I need to start out in this type of position. Maybe I need to get these skills or whatever. So in that way, and then of course, exploiting the opportunity, that's just hard work. That's when the opportunity is there and you take advantage of it. So when I say that LinkedIn is the standalone tool for generating opportunities, it really is. Okay. And to the extent we have time, I'll talk to you specifically about, how you can do some of that. But a lot of that will be the actual technical aspects of the things you should do. I'll get into that more in a separate episode.
Yeah, it seems to me like LinkedIn is or let me pose the question to you maybe because this is just an assumption from me, but it seems like LinkedIn is the go-to place where companies are putting their positions, their open positions on for hiring and maybe higher level positions, more prestigious positions, more kind of those the second tier, not the entry level, but the second and higher tiered positions. So it's a good place to, like you said, find the opportunity, but also get your foot in the door with, headhunters, the recruiters and stuff like that. Is that
Yeah.
my assumption pretty accurate?
You make a great point about the second tier jobs, particularly. So, mainly what you see on LinkedIn posted are professional services type positions, right? People who have a level of skill or ability or training in a given field. Okay. There are a lot of classifications. You don't have white collar and blue collar classification alone anymore. There's technician, there's skilled laborer, there's unskilled laborer, there's skilled non-labor position, but non-technical positions, right? That type of thing, like a manager of labor, for example. So there's all these different levels or tiers of positions that you'll see there. Now, what you tend to see more of on LinkedIn is skill-based, right? Non-labor positions and managerial type positions. Okay. And with companies don't tend to list very readily in the public anything except for skill-based or managerial positions. Okay, so that's what you see on LinkedIn, right? And oftentimes it's not even the companies listing it on LinkedIn. It's the recruiters that companies hire, and then they list it on LinkedIn. The same is true with some of these other career search websites like Monster, Indeed, Simply Hired, places like that. The people that are listing the jobs with companies are the recruiters that are hired or contracted by the company to find talent. And that is just one method that they are using to find potential applicants for the position to recommend to the company. Okay, so because that's the way recruiting works, right? The companies, they hire people outside, and this is the way all Fortune 500 companies do it now, or Fortune 1000 companies, the biggest companies in the world. They'll sometimes have internal recruiting groups, but more often than not now, they'll contract with a recruiter outside of the business. The recruiter outside of the business says, okay, I'm going to go out there and actively search for people to recommend to the business. So the business will only have to interview a number of people. They won't have to go through the thousands of resumes and things like that that they would get if they posted it publicly. The recruiter does all that, but the recruiter goes out and searches on LinkedIn. Apparently, 90% of recruiters use exclusively LinkedIn for this purpose, and 98% of recruiters use LinkedIn. The 2% who don't, probably government recruiters, if I were to guess. They're just using the federal system, right? So, anyway, that being said, they're out there searching to find the talent. In doing so, they put out these passive, ways of finding people, like posting on job sites, like LinkedIn, like Simply Hired, like Monster, Indeed, those types of things. And basically, when you apply to the position, you're applying to the recruiter, and the recruiter will then screen your application and things like that through electronic tools that make it easier for them. Then they'll combine all the best candidates, contact you, get it down to a few candidates for a given position, and then they'll recommend those candidates to the company. So once again, it's a game that you're playing there to try to impress the recruiter. And one of the first things the recruiter is going to do is check out your entire LinkedIn profile. Sure, you put in an application there for whatever company, you sent in your resume, you did all those things. Well, if the primary method that a recruiter is using to find talent is LinkedIn, your LinkedIn better be ready, right? They're going to visit it. They're going to see what's going on with you. And LinkedIn's wonderful in the fact that you can put all the stuff professionally, personally, all those things that would matter about you. It's like a CV or a curriculum vitae. It's the running total of your life, not just a resume or a short summary of how you think you fit in this position. So once again, everything comes back to trying to make an impression on another person, and LinkedIn is the lone social media place to do it.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, which was how to use it to find a job. So let me go to the next one, which is, are there other ways to use LinkedIn to help professionally?
Absolutely. So not everybody is going to be in job search mode all the time. Okay. So with that being said, can you still use LinkedIn to help you career wise? Sure. Again, through networking. Now, you want to put a picture, an image. You want to project who you are to the world in a professional manner. Well, what LinkedIn allows you to do is not only put your credentials, not only put your past work and things like that, your past work experience, but you can put things like proof of work. You can use the social media aspect of it, your news feed there, to follow people who are posting things. You can make comments on the things that they post on there. And unlike other social media profiles, it's not just all opinion-based stuff. It's not all fun-based stuff. It's usually related to their work, their job, anything industry-wide that's applicable to them. So you have the opportunity to keep yourself top of mind by commenting on their posts. If you see posts or learn things about them, to repost that and tag them. There's a direct messaging feature, so you can stay in contact with people you've met before. So no more, taking business cards and trying to put it into a Rolodex or into a address book or some craziness like that. You've got an active, living Rolodex there of people you've networked with that you're connected to, and you can continue a passive conversation that is just reading their posts, things like that. You can also build your image by putting out professional content. LinkedIn is a microblogging platform, so you can use it the same way you could use a Twitter or a Facebook or even an Instagram for that matter, right? Because it allows you to post pictures and things like that. It allows you to create longer form articles that you would traditionally put on your own website and things like that. So you can build your entire public image through a single platform, right? Without going through having multiple sources to do that, right? And everything's together. So if you think about it in terms of networking and creating a personal uh, platform for you to, again, how the world sees you, right? For you to develop that and cultivate that in one spot, LinkedIn is it.
So one of the things that you mentioned that just kind of brought up something is it sounds like LinkedIn is not just simply from a personal standpoint, but if you also have a business or some kind of business that you need to get out to like you keep saying networking. If you need
Mhm.
to get out there, it sounds like LinkedIn is also a good social media to get your business out there as well. Not just from, hey, I need a job or I need to look for a job, but also here's what I can offer from a business standpoint to people who are looking for whatever the product or the service is.
Absolutely. LinkedIn allows you to create business profiles, business pages, and then you can post from there. So, particularly with professional service providers where the majority of your effort is represented by some business activity, right? Say, for me, legal practice, for you, CPA, for a computer programmer, that, or for a graphic designer, that you can create that business profile that where you can post proof of work, results, outcomes from your efforts, awards, things like that. And again, people will follow that and, oftentimes people search for businesses that do certain things in a given area, right? Now, that's not as popular as just going to a normal Google search and searching for businesses and seeing the rankings and stuff like that. So, that portion has not taken off the way some of the other aspects of LinkedIn have. But once again, you can promote yourself professionally through that function. And if your primary activity professionally is you having your own business, then once again, under your personal profile, you can list that business page, right? And link to it and use that picture image and things like that as your place of employment, place of experience. I see students all the time who say, well, I've done all of this on my own, right? I've created kind of this business activity or I do this thing for the public that, how do I list that as prior experience? And LinkedIn makes that so easy because once again, you're creating your own page, which is basically like your own website. And you're putting down your services, you're putting down your accomplishments, you're putting down all the things that you would otherwise put on a website. And then you can easily link to that as your place of employment in LinkedIn again. So it works together and it's very useful.
This has been really interesting. So, hypothetically speaking, and this is more not hypothetical for me, but let's just say that you have somebody who doesn't have a profile or who has essentially nothing on their profile. So they have their name, but LinkedIn gives you that status of are you beginner, intermediate, expert? Have you fulfilled these steps to get these different levels? And I'm still in beginner and I've had mine for 12, 13 years. Um, I've fulfilled 3 of the 7 steps required to get out of the beginner stage. That's how in my infantile stage of LinkedIn I am. So for somebody like me, or for somebody out there listening who has not set up one at all, or has barely done anything other than just get their name on there, what are some things that we should consider when it comes to setting up a LinkedIn page?
So remember this, however you're going to use it, that is your image to the rest of the world, whether it's for networking or whether it's for career development. So you need to hone it for that purpose. Okay. So to start with, I tell people, you got to start with your resume and have all that content in there. And like I say, in a separate episode, we're going to talk in detail,
Yeah,
piece by piece, how you set this thing up.
probably
Right.
a couple episodes.
Yeah, and I think we can at least separate it into 2 episodes
Sure,
of how you set it up and how you use it professionally,
sure.
right, to find jobs and things like that. We may even do a third episode in terms of how you use it to network because I think
Yeah,
that's pretty important too.
agreed.
But to start with, just make certain that you have a good professional looking profile picture, right? Generally, I recommend a headshot. You also have the opportunity to have a background image, right? Make sure that either says something about who you are professionally or it's something very interesting that it will cause people to, one, be interested in reading the rest of your profile. Okay. You have an area where you can make a personal statement about yourself, the objectives you have, and things like that. And we'll talk about how you hone that for networking purposes and how you hone that for being found by recruiters in a different, episode. But in the meantime, just understand that people want to hear this about you, right? Making sure you put down whatever education you have, whatever prior experience you have. And if you have a resume, that's a good starting point. Now, I will say this, it will not be exactly the same. The function of a resume is just largely different from that of how you're going to use LinkedIn, but it is a good starting point to say, look, these are the things I've done. LinkedIn allows you to, again, add proof of work in different areas. So if you've done things in school, you've done things professionally, anything from doing a regression analysis or completing financial statements, right? This is proof of your knowledge. It is proof of your ability. That kind of stuff is very ripe to post to LinkedIn. Now, sometimes you have to post it to an intermediate platform like Google Documents or Excel, Google Spreadsheet or something like that. And then you post it into LinkedIn so it's more readily accessible. But once again, all those things, skill sets, if you have certifications, things like that, you're going to want to assemble all of those and put all of that information in there. Then you're going to start endorsing other people for skills, and you're going to start recommending people and having people recommend you. And altogether, those are the things we've talked about throughout about career development and networking and things like that, all together right there on your LinkedIn profile, right? So you can carry out all those functions. And again, I don't mean to bury the lead here, but we're going to tell you how to set these things up like this in future
Yeah.
episodes. But for now, it suffice it to say that you need to do these things. You need to start thinking about them. And if you start thinking about them now, exploring them, doing your best to set them up on your own before you get help, you'll have a better understanding of the purpose of them and how you should do it, right?
Looking at yours, and then comparing it to mine and looking at some other people that I've connected with, it really seems to me, and I'm going to use this word because I can't think of another better word. And the word I'm going to use tends to have a negative connotation, but I don't mean it in a negative way. It seems to me like when you're setting up your profile, it is a time for you to brag about yourself.
Yeah, it is. Brag about yourself in a certain way, I would
Yeah, in a
say.
professional way. You're
Yeah.
you're saying all of your because one of the things I was noticing is that skills piece. And the skills piece is one of those things that you're telling everybody who sees this or the recruiters who look at your page or anybody, you're saying, "Okay, these are the things that I'm good at." And not only am I saying this about myself, but I'm also having people back me up on it. They're
Yeah.
endorsing me. And that's something that I know at least for myself, because again, I'm kind of standing on the outside of this right now. I've still got to work on mine. But I'm somebody that I tend to be almost uncomfortable talking about myself in these ways. Like I don't I'm somebody that just I'm uncomfortable talking about anything good that I feel like myself is. And now if somebody else brings it up, I'm all for it. But me having to point these things out is really tough for me. And I know it's tough for some other people. Maybe some of our listeners are tough. So how do you get past that and do it like you said, do it in a professional way? You're not bragging to say, "Hey, I did this or I'm better than this person," but this is something that I feel like I'm good at and I'm comfortable and confident myself to be able to do this. And in hopes of having other people endorse me as well. How do you get past that hump of uncomfortability?
Well, one, I would say, a lot of the uncomfort associated with it is how it makes other people feel,
Yeah,
right? When you're bragging about yourself. So you shouldn't
yeah,
brag about yourself to other people, right? It has a negative impact on most people and it affects their perception of you. But when it comes to them searching your LinkedIn profile, people need to know these things about you, right? They need to know what you can do and the extent to which you can do it because that's what qualifies you for given positions and things like that. And because you're doing it passively, you're just simply putting that this is my experience, this is my skill set in this area, and I'm having other people endorse me in this way. The fact that you now don't have to personally tell people these things. The fact that you don't have to try and promote yourself in other ways. You're doing it passively by having this information there. And people want to know this stuff. That's the reason they visit your profile. So it takes all of the stigma away from it if you look at it just like that.
Yeah, this has been a really interesting episode. And like I said, it's just really given me more cause for having to go back through mine because mine is abysmal. Um, I've I need to actually stay current with mine. And
Well, you're very lucky, AJ, because when we do these other episodes that takes you piece by piece how you set it up and then how you use it, you're going to be an expert. You're going to be a ninja on it, right?
I'm excited because right now, like I said, I'm a beginner. I'm 3 out of 7. I have my name and the place I work and the interests, which is the place I work. It is awful. So, and I have some connections, but I mean, nowhere. I don't use it as much as I need to, and I really need to. One of the biggest takeaways I heard you talking about was your profile picture, and pretty much you're saying I don't need to use my Facebook profile picture for my LinkedIn profile picture.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
And I just said Facebook, and most of the people went, "What's Facebook?" Because they don't use Facebook's for old people now.
You should have said Instagram.
I should have said Instagram. Yeah, that's
your TikTok profile.
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, this has been a really good episode, and I'm looking forward to the next ones because, again, we're going to get into the weeds of LinkedIn and how to technically set it up, what's the best ways to go about, things that you need to consider, and so on. So I'm looking forward to those as well. Jason, you got anything before we head out?
No, just want to remind everybody, again, hit us up on our website with the questions you have. You can even send us the questions through social media. They're going to help us know what you want to hear about. So drop us a line.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. Until next time, we hope to see you there. Goodbye.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Reschool'd podcast. Be sure to head over to reschool'd.com for news and other information on things we're getting into.